Have you ever looked at a map of the US and wondered, why are huge parts of it practically deserted? We're talking about entire states with jaw-dropping landscapes, towering mountains, wide open plains, stunning coastlines, yet barely anyone lives there. In 2025, that reality is more striking than ever. So what's going on? Is it the brutal winters, a lack of jobs, maybe just too much space and not enough opportunity? In this video, we're counting down the 9 least populated states in America and uncovering the real reasons why people aren't staying. Some of the answers might surprise you. Others might make you think twice before dreaming of that remote, peaceful life off the grid. From Alaska's unforgiving wilderness to New Hampshire's hidden costs, we're peeling back the layers on why these places are beautiful, but often unlivable. And stick around, because number 1 will absolutely shock you. First, Alaska. Alaska might be the biggest state in the US, so big in fact you could fit Texas inside it twice. But when it comes to population, it's nearly empty. In 2025, fewer than 750,000 people call Alaska home. That's less than the population of a mid-sized city, spread across over 660,000 square miles. That's about 1 person per square mile. You could drive for hours and not see another soul. Why so empty? First, the climate is brutal. Winters can drop to minus 60 degrees Fahrenheit in the far north. Some areas experience total darkness for weeks in winter, then endless daylight in summer. That extreme shift can seriously mess with sleep, mood, and mental health. Then there's the cost. With most towns unreachable by road, many supplies have to be flown in. That means groceries, gas, and home heating are incredibly expensive. Even housing is pricey. Median home prices hover around $325,000, and utilities are through the roof. Economically, Alaska leans heavily on oil, but as that industry struggles, jobs have become less reliable. For adventure seekers, Alaska is paradise. But for most Americans, the cold, isolation, and costs are just too much. Second, Wyoming. Wyoming is the least populated state in the nation, and it's not even close. With just under 600,000 residents in 2025, it feels more like a large national park than a bustling state. The landscape is breathtaking. Think Yellowstone, the Grand Tetons, endless plains, and wide open skies. But that beauty comes with trade-offs. Wyoming's population density is about 6 people per square mile. For many, that level of isolation is a deal breaker. The economy doesn't help either. Wyoming leans heavily on coal, oil, and natural gas, industries that are both volatile and shrinking. When prices crash, jobs disappear. Outside of energy and agriculture, employment options are scarce. Even in Cheyenne, the largest city with just 65,000 people, the job market is narrow and cultural attractions limited. There's almost no public transportation, so a car isn't optional, it's a necessity. The winters are no joke either. Long, freezing, and full of blizzards. And while summers can top 90 degrees Fahrenheit, many homes lack air conditioning, making life uncomfortable year-round. For those who crave solitude and raw nature, Wyoming can be paradise. But for anyone seeking career opportunities, convenience, or community life, it often falls short. Third, Montana. Montana is known as Big Sky Country for a reason. Its open landscapes stretch as far as the eye can see, rugged mountains, crystal clear lakes, and some of the most stunning national parks in the country. But even with all that beauty, Montana remains one of the emptiest states in America. In 2025, the population sits just over 1.1 million, spread across a landmass bigger than Germany. That's a lot of space with not a lot of people. Why? Start with the weather. Winters are long and punishing, with temperatures in some areas dipping below minus 20 degrees Fahrenheit. Blizzards can shut down roads for days. And in the summer, wildfires often rage across vast swaths of land, threatening homes and air quality. Montana's economy is largely based on agriculture, mining, and tourism. While those industries keep things afloat, they don't offer a wide range of high-paying or stable jobs, especially outside of cities like Billings or Missoula. Internet and cell service? Still spotty in rural zones, and although the median home price, around $360,000, isn't outrageous, the lack of modern conveniences can be a deal breaker. Montana may be a dream for outdoor lovers, but for most, it's better as a vacation spot than a permanent address. 4. North Dakota. North Dakota is one of those places where you can drive for miles and not see a single person, or even another car. With a population of under 800,000 in 2025, it's among the most sparsely populated states in the U.S. The reason? Harsh weather is a big part of it. Winters regularly hit minus 30 degrees Fahrenheit, and blizzards can shut down entire towns for days. Fargo, the largest city, has fewer than 130,000 residents, barely the size of a neighborhood in a major metro area. The state's economy once boomed thanks to the Bakken oil fields. Jobs flooded in during the oil rush, and housing prices shot up. But as oil prices dropped, so did job security. Today, the economy is heavily tied to agriculture and energy, both of which are vulnerable to market swings and environmental risks. Affordable housing is one bright spot, with the median home price hovering around $260,000. But for many, that's not enough to compensate for the isolation, frigid climate, and limited entertainment options. North Dakota has fewer than 1,000 restaurants statewide. Still, for those who value clean air, low crime, and a slower pace of life, North Dakota holds appeal. But for most Americans, it's simply too remote and too cold. 5. South Dakota. South Dakota may be home to iconic landmarks like Mount Rushmore in the Badlands, but it remains one of the least densely populated states in America. In 2025, only about 910,000 people live here, spread thinly across 77,000 square miles. That's just 11 people per square mile. So why don't more people stay? First off, the weather is intense. Winters bring freezing temperatures that often plunge below minus 10 degrees Fahrenheit, accompanied by heavy snow and ice-covered roads. Summers swing the other way, hot, humid, and prone to violent storms. On average, the state sees about 36 tornadoes a year. The economy depends largely on agriculture, tourism, and mining. While places like Mount Rushmore bring in millions of visitors, job options beyond farming and seasonal work are slim. The median household income sits around $63,000, below the national average, and many young adults leave in search of better-paying careers. The rural nature of the state also means fewer modern conveniences. High-speed internet is limited in many areas, and entertainment options are sparse outside of cities like Sioux Falls. South Dakota's landscapes are undeniably beautiful, but for those seeking steady jobs, urban life, or reliable infrastructure, it often feels more like a scenic detour than a long-term destination. 6th, Vermont. Vermont looks like it came out of a postcard. Rolling hills, fiery autumn leaves, and quaint towns that feel untouched by time. But in 2025, only about 650,000 people live here, making it one of the most sparsely populated states on the East Coast. So, what's keeping people away? For starters, the job market is limited. Vermont's economy relies heavily on agriculture, small businesses, and seasonal tourism. Its dairy farms produce most of New England's milk, but that industry is shrinking fast. Outside of busy fall foliage and ski seasons, many residents patch together multiple part-time jobs to get by. Then there's the cost. Vermont has a high cost of living. Median home prices are around $370,000, and strict zoning laws make building new housing a challenge. Combine that with limited public transportation, and you're left needing a car just to survive. Winters are long, snowy, and cold, with temperatures regularly dropping below 0 degrees Fahrenheit. Roads can become impassable in rural areas, and access to emergency services can be spotty. Burlington, the largest city, has just 45,000 residents, hardly a magnet for young professionals seeking nightlife and career growth. Vermont offers peace and beauty, but for many, that's not enough to outweigh the isolation and economic limits. 7th, Maine. Maine is famous for its rocky coastlines, iconic lighthouses, and of course, lobster. It's a picturesque state full of New England charm. But in 2025, with just over 1.3 million residents spread across 35,000 square miles, it's still one of the most underpopulated states in the U.S. Why? While Maine thrives in the summer with tourism, the rest of the year paints a different picture. The economy leans on seasonal industries, fishing, farming, especially potatoes, and hospitality. Lobster hauls bring in millions of pounds annually, but the job market lacks year-round opportunities, especially for younger workers. Wages are modest, with a median household income of around $60,000. Yet, the cost of living is high, especially in coastal towns where homes can cost upwards of $320,000. $100,000. Then there's the weather. Winters are long and brutal, with over 70 inches of snow per year and bitter temperatures often below 20 degrees Fahrenheit. Many rural roads become impassable during storms, and heating bills soar. On top of that, Maine's population is aging fast, and many young people are leaving for cities like Boston or Portland, Oregon. Maine may offer serenity, natural beauty, and a slower pace of life, but for most Americans, it's a tough place to build a future. 8. Nebraska. Nebraska might be the heart of America's farmland, but in 2025, its wide fields and rural towns are seeing fewer and fewer people. With around 1.9 million residents spread across over 77,000 square miles, much of the state feels surprisingly empty. The economy here is dominated by agriculture, corn, wheat, and cattle. While these industries are essential, they don't offer much variety for job seekers. Outside of Lincoln and Omaha, career options are limited, and young professionals often move elsewhere for broader opportunities. Nebraska's weather doesn't help its case. Winters can be brutal, dropping to minus 10 degrees Fahrenheit or lower with powerful winds. In the summer, triple-digit heat and long droughts aren't uncommon. Add in tornado season, averaging 20 storms a year, and you've got a challenging environment. The median household income is about $65,000, with home prices around $300,000. That sounds affordable, but the lack of infrastructure in rural areas, like limited internet, healthcare, and entertainment, can make everyday life harder than expected. Even with low crime, strong community ties, and a slower pace of life, Nebraska is struggling to retain its population. Unless you're rooted in farming or energy, it's often a state people leave, not one they move to. 9. New Hampshire. New Hampshire might seem like a dream. Tucked in the northeast with serene forests, mountain ranges, and peaceful lakes, it offers all the New England beauty without sales or income tax. But despite those perks, only about 1.4 million people live here in 2025. So what's the catch? Start with the cost of living. While there's no state income tax, New Hampshire makes up for it with some of the highest property taxes in the country. The median home price is around $400,000, well above the national average. Utilities and healthcare costs are also higher than you might expect for a rural state. The job market is narrow. It leans heavily on manufacturing, tech, and tourism. But if your skills don't match those industries, it's tough to find a good fit. Many young people pack up and head for Boston or New York, chasing higher salaries and broader opportunities. Then there's the weather. Long, icy winters and short summers. Snow totals regularly top 70 inches. In rural areas can become difficult to navigate for weeks at a time. New Hampshire scores high in safety and education, but for many, the high costs and limited growth paths outweigh the natural beauty and small town charm. From Alaska's frozen frontiers to Vermont's postcard towns, these 9 states share a powerful contrast. Unmatched natural beauty paired with real-world challenges, whether it's isolation, harsh weather, limited job markets, or rising costs. Each of these places demands a serious lifestyle trade-off. Yes, they offer peace, space, and simplicity, but they also come with sacrifices that many people just aren't willing to make. So here's the question for you. Would you ever pack up and move to one of these under-the-radar states? Or do you think they're empty for a reason? Let's talk about it in the comments. Your perspective might surprise someone else watching. And if you found this breakdown helpful or eye-opening, don't forget to like the video, subscribe to the channel, and turn on notifications so you never miss a deep dive into housing, finance, and the real cost of where you live.